Okay, so I've been talking a little bit lately about the Tradwife and soft girl movements, and in my mind, they are highly linked, even though sometimes they are packaged differently. They're both sort of selling a similar appeal and a similar danger, but they've both been marketed to us as reactions against classical feminism. That's a little bit of a what's the word? A little bit untrue. Um, I don't think that they are reactions to classical feminism. I think they're reactions to the reaction to classical feminism. Now, I know that sounds a little bit nitty picky, but let me explain what I mean by that. Classical feminism was an attempt to gain power. It was an attempt to access parts of life that had been closed or had very high barriers to women previously. And in many aspects, it was very successful at that. However, it came with a large cost, which is that, in essence, society, especially in America, said, okay, you can have these things, but you still have to maintain the traditional load as well. So you can have the job and the career and the education, but you're going to still have to come home and take care of your husband and pick up after him and take care of the children and do the vast majority of the labor around the house. So you're basically going to have two jobs. And that's kind of the trade off that society proposed and imposed on women from that point forward. And it took us a while to realize we weren't actually gaining that much. In fact, we were losing as much as we gained on a lot of fronts in that bargain. I mean, we did gain a level of legal safety and rights and so forth, and access to the job and so forth. But this additional cost that society still expected us to bear made it an almost unbearable form of life for many women. So then came the conservative movement, offering Tradwife and now soft life alternatives, saying, oh, it's horrible having to work this many hours and then come home and take care of the children and everything else. Look how great life would be if you didn't have to work. But they're ignoring that the entire problem here is not women working. It was not feminism. It was the reaction to feminism that was the issue. It was the society that said, you can gain these freedoms, but you still have to wear the shackles of the past. That was the problem. And now, as with everything the conservatives do, they are marketing themselves as the only solution to a problem that they created. It's a grift, like everything that they do. The problem with the feminist movement was the reaction to it, and to some degree women's acceptance of it. I'll own that. But the way that it was marketed to us, in fact, it was an example of what you call movement capture, where there is a legitimate, well-intentioned movement that is then captured and co-opted by the forces who basically want it to fail, but know it won't. So they're going to capture the momentum of it and redirect it into something less harmful to their own interests. And that's how feminism got redirected into the boss girl aesthetic, which was exactly what I'm talking about. The whole, you can have a career and be a mom and be a housewife and blah, 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 which nobody could do that. Something has to give. Nobody can do like 100 hours a week of labor effectively. And so now we're being marketed the remedy. Go back to the traditional way. First of all, anything that tells you you need to go backwards to move forward is a lie and probably selling you something. But you see how they create the trap and then market the solution to it. And none of it's real. None of it is real. It's all self-imposed. Don't fall for it, ladies. Stay sharp.